Hello everyone, Ryan here, back with another car vlog thing. Yeah. So real quick before I get into anything else, check out my novel Aperture. It's available for free download. The link will be down below. I wrote it quite a while ago. Self-published it about 3-4 years ago. I've yet to receive any kind of honest feedback on it, any kind of actual review of it. If you're able to review it, I would greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, if not, but if you're able to, if you know of somebody, some other fellow booktuber or book reviewer who would be open to reading or reviewing it, definitely pass it on to them. I greatly appreciate it. It's titled Aperture. Pretty much main character, main protagonist is a guy named Benny. He struggles with some kind of split personality disorder. Some might say, some would argue, what's that word? Dissociative identity disorder, I believe it's called. Something like that. I hope I got that correct. But yeah, there's a little bit of sci-fi in it, a little bit of fantasy, drama, action, romance, comedy, a little bit of comedy. So definitely check that out. Link will be down below. It's been a while since I've actually promoted it. So, yeah, and I'm also trying to get back into writing a lot more. Been working on new ideas, new short story ideas, new ideas for other novels and whatnot. So, again, check that out. So, recently I've been reading this ebook titled The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, I believe. And it's the first ebook that I've actually sat down and bothered to read. Like, first ebook in a long time that I've even bothered to download. Mostly because, like, ever since I got a new phone, I have a lot more memory on my new phone, so I'm able to read a lot more ebooks now. So, yeah, it's an interesting book. It's categorized as a self-help book, but I'd say definitely it's not so much self-help book as it is just, something that offers people different perspective on things. Most notably, of course, the author, he mentions a lot about the fact that there's no point in worrying about stuff that is out of your control. Of course, he uses, a lot of curse words, which is, I actually find it pretty refreshing to read reading, because I've read a lot of self-help books and they all seem to rehash the same stuff. But in this one, it's the first one I've actually read where, the author just says, he literally says, no, fuck that, fuck this. And he just pretty much tells it like it is. And he doesn't shy away from offending people. Of course, I've never considered myself to be the type of person that offends easily. So I would say, yeah, if you are offended easily, then this book is definitely not for you. Of course, I've barely read like half of it, but once I finish it, I will be doing a much more thorough review of it, whenever that might be. But yeah, I didn't expect that I would actually like it as much as I actually do. Also, too, there's a lot of stuff that the author took from Buddhism, except that, there's even a chapter in which he talks about the life of the Buddha himself, but like rewords the whole story. He rewords, the origin story of the Buddha in his own way. Even, I think it's the first time I've read any book that talks about the life of the Buddha and uses curse words. So that's another interesting thing. But yeah, I don't want to get too much into it. But originally, I assumed that it was going to be a book where it's just kind of like, I assumed that because I read some reviews on Goodreads and a lot of people definitely do not like this book. But I think that's mostly because, as I said, that, he doesn't hold back. He just tells it like it is, and definitely not afraid. Definitely doesn't worry about what people think. Yeah. But then that coincides with the title, the whole title, the subtle art of not giving a fuck. But yeah, I definitely agree with the basic concept of, the fact that we shouldn't worry ourselves to the point that it drives us crazy, especially when it comes to things that are out of our control. I mean, and yeah, granted, we see things on the news, in modern society, we're bombarded with all these things, the media, social media, other forms, other outlets, we're bombarded with all these things that essentially tells us that we have to give a fuck, that we have to care about everything, everyone, and anything, and that definitely contributes to the amount of stress that we experience on a day-to-day basis. Whether we acknowledge it or not, I would say, it definitely contributes, at least a small percentage, which then over time adds up, so kind of like I want to say domino effect, or like, it just builds up and builds up and builds up, and, and we just ignore these issues. And, especially when it comes to things like, say, like what's currently been going on, that whole thing, the protest in Charlottesville, people got run over. And yeah, I would say for me, I feel like it's not cool. I mean, I want to say flat out, it's not cool to run over people. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your background is. It's not cool to run over people. It's just not. I mean, come on. We all know that, right? We all know that. And even if it is a special circumstance, when somebody happens to, for whatever reason, doesn't have common sense or was born without common sense, and they don't know that, fine. I mean, okay, but still, it's, otherwise, it's still not cool to run over people. No. I mean, that's how I feel. And then, yes, of course, obviously, there's a much larger issue behind the whole thing, which for me, I have no answers to. I don't believe anybody really has any permanent solutions to, unfortunately. But the best we can do is, at least, just be open, I guess. I don't know. Be open to discussing, be open to discussion. Yeah, because when it comes to stuff like that, racism, prejudice, I definitely feel like, it's something that has to be discussed on a regular basis, especially when you consider the long history that just this country alone has, when it comes to these kinds of things. But yeah, I don't want to, I'm not pretending that, I hope I don't come off as if I know exactly what I'm talking about. Just expressing my own opinions on it. Ultimately, I believe that, as a species, mankind, the human race, we've gotten to the point where we can no longer ignore each other. We can't. It's a fact. It doesn't matter if, we can keep denying the fact that we're all human. We can keep denying the fact that we all have a lot more in common than we do differences. But just because we deny it, that doesn't make it true. It doesn't. It's It doesn't. We're all living on the same planet. We're all breathing the same air. We all experience the same kind of warmth from the same sun, and and we're still denying the fact that we have to get along with each other. And for me, that just doesn't make sense. But hey, I mean, it comes with the territory, I guess, comes with being human. We're all flawed and all that. But yeah, at some point we do have to have regular discussions about the whole thing, especially if we want to survive as a species, if we want the human race to live on. Otherwise, I understand. To me, it kind of seems like there's some people who don't want the human race to continue on. And hey, I mean, I can kind of understand that, but I'm not for it. But and I don't condone any actions that are taken to ensure that, or to anything negative. But otherwise, I'm saying it's either we learn to get along with each other, or we're not going to survive. We're just not going to survive as a species. That's it. That's a fact. It has nothing to do with It has nothing to do with whatever background we all have. It has nothing to do with what we all believe in or don't believe in. It has nothing to do with what political party we ascribe to. It has nothing to do with where we were born or how we were raised. Ultimately, it has to do with the fact that we gotta get along. We gotta figure out how to get along with each other. Because again, if we don't, there's no way to ensure the survival of the human race. It just isn't. And I mean, and I don't want to sound negative. I'm not trying to sound negative. I'm just trying to state the obvious, because I feel like not enough people are stating the obvious, or rather, not enough people who are in the right positions to state the obvious are stating the obvious. But that's how I feel. So ultimately, I'm all for peace, love, unity, light, joy, all that awesomeness. And I know a lot of other people are too. So I do get some kind of comfort in that fact, knowing that I'm not the only one who actually does care about the human race. So yeah, with that, I'm going to cut this video. I didn't mean to ramble on too much, but I guess I usually do in these car vlog things. So thanks for watching. As always, till next time, keep it real, keep on rocking, and peace.